Padre Pio saw something that no one else could see on that December the 2nd, 1956. As the monks of the San Giovanni Rotondo convent lit the first Advent purple candle, he stopped. His eyes, marked by decades of heavenly visions and battles against the demonic, were fixed on the small violet flame. And then he said something that made everyone present tremble. He said that the candle wasn't just wax and fire, it was a portal that opened once a year at that exact moment, and remained open for precisely 24 days until midnight on Christmas Eve. What Padre Pio revealed about this purple candle was so profound, so disturbing, and yet so full of hope that the Vatican kept his testimony secret for more than 6 decades. But today, at this very moment as you're watching, this knowledge finally reaches you. And it's no accident, because if you found this video, it means something is calling you. Something bigger than you can imagine is about to happen in your spiritual life. Do you know why the Church chose the color purple for Advent? Most Catholics think it's just a tradition, a liturgical convention with no deeper meaning. But Padre Pio knew the truth. He knew because Mary, the Mother of God, had revealed it to him personally. In one of his many visions of the Virgin, she explained that Advent purple wasn't just a color, it was a frequency. A spiritual frequency that vibrated in the same tune as the invisible world, the world where angels and demons wage constant battles for human souls. And that's why lighting this purple candle at the right moment, in the right way, with the right intention, can completely change the course of the next 24 days of your life. It can open doors that have been closed for years. It can break curses that you didn't even know you carried. It can bring answers to prayers that you had given up on making. But before I reveal exactly what Padre Pio taught about this practice, I need to tell you what happened on that night in December 1956, because it was on that night that he received a vision that would forever change how we look at Advent. It was around 3 in the morning, the hour that Padre Pio called the time when the veil between worlds is at its thinnest. He was in his room, as usual, in deep prayer. The stigmata on his hands bled more than normal. He knew that this meant something. Whenever the blood flowed more intensely, it was a sign that an important revelation was coming. And then he saw her. Mary appeared before him, enveloped in a light that was not of this world. But this time, she wasn't alone. Beside her was an angel that Padre Pio had never seen before, an angel who carried in his hands a candle, a purple candle that shone with a supernatural intensity. Mary looked at Padre Pio with those eyes full of maternal love and said words that he would never forget. She said that this candle represented the hope of humanity, that every time a faithful person lit a purple candle during Advent with true faith and repentance, a light also lit up in heaven, and this light, she explained, weakened the power of the evil one on earth. But there was more. Mary revealed to Padre Pio that there was a specific moment when this candle should be lit. A moment when the heavens were most receptive, a moment when prayers rose faster and reached further, and that moment was dawn, specifically 6 o'clock in the morning on the second day of Advent. Why the second day and not the first? Padre Pio asked exactly that, and the answer that Mary gave was revealing. She explained that the first day of Advent was the day of preparation, the day when the spiritual world reorganized itself. The day when the heavenly forces took their positions for the great battle that would be fought until Christmas. But the second day, the second day was different. It was the day when the portal really opened, the day when the connection between heaven and earth reached its maximum potency. And that's exactly why today, December 2nd, is so important. You're not watching this video by chance. The fact that you're here, at this moment, hearing these words, is a sign that your soul is being called to something greater, a sign that you have been chosen to receive this knowledge that was hidden for so long. Now, let me explain what Padre Pio taught about the correct way to light this candle. Because it's not enough to simply strike a match and expect miracles to happen. There is a ritual, a spiritual protocol that he developed over years of communion with the divine. And this protocol has 7 steps. 7, the number of divine perfection. The first step is purification. Before touching the candle, Padre Pio said that it was necessary to wash your hands with holy water. If you don't have holy water at home, you can use ordinary water and make the sign of the cross over it 3 times, asking God to bless it. This water will remove any spiritual impurity that may be on your hands. Because the hands, he explained, are the instruments through which our intention manifests itself in the physical world. The second step is silence. At least 5 minutes before lighting the candle, you must be in complete silence. Turn off your phone. Get away from any noise. Padre Pio was emphatic about this. He said that the noise of the modern world was one of the main weapons of the devil. That constant noise prevented people from hearing the voice of God. And in this moment of preparation, you need to create a space of silence so that heaven can speak to your heart. The third step is intention. Before lighting the candle, you must declare aloud what your intention is for the next 24 days of Advent. It may be a specific grace that you are asking for. It may be healing for some illness. It may be reconciliation with someone. It may be liberation from some addiction or sin. Whatever it is, it must be declared aloud. Padre Pio taught that words spoken with faith have the power of creation, just as God created the world with words. We too can shape our spiritual reality through what we declare. The fourth step is forgiveness. And here, many fail. Many want to light the candle and receive graces without first releasing those who have hurt them. But Padre Pio was categorical. He said that a prayer made with bitterness in your heart is like a letter sent to the wrong address. It will never reach its destination. So, before lighting the candle, you must forgive. Forgive truly, not just with words, but with your heart. If there is someone you cannot forgive, ask God for the grace of forgiveness. Ask Him to do for you what you cannot do alone. The fifth step is the offering. Padre Pio taught that every powerful prayer must be accompanied by an offering. I'm not talking about money, though almsgiving is a valid form of offering. I'm talking about a personal sacrifice, something that costs you something. It could be a day of fasting. It could be giving up something you enjoy very much. It could be dedicating an hour of your day to help someone in need. The important thing is that there is a cost, because heaven values what costs us something. The sixth step is the lighting itself. And here, there's a detail that few people know. Padre Pio said that the candle should not be lit with a match or a common lighter. Ideally, it should be lit with another flame, a flame that is already burning. It could be the flame of a blessed candle. It could be the flame burning before a sacred image. The reason for this, he explained, is that the flame carries a spiritual energy. When you light a new candle with a flame that has already been consecrated, you're transferring that consecration to the new candle. If you don't have access to another consecrated flame, you can light the candle normally, but make the sign of the cross over the flame as soon as it lights, consecrating it at that moment. The seventh step is prayer. And not just any prayer. Padre Pio had a specific prayer for this moment, a prayer he called the prayer of the Advent portal. This prayer was passed down orally for decades among the spiritual children of Padre Pio, and today I'm going to share it with you. The prayer begins like this: My Lord God, on this second day of Advent, I light this flame as a sign of my faith and my hope. May this purple light illuminate my path to the Christmas of your Son. May it burn away all the darkness that dwells within me. May it ward off all evil that tries to approach. Mary, the Mother of God and my Mother, intercede for me before the throne of the Most High. Open for me the portal of graces that opens in this holy time. And you, Padre Pio, faithful servant of Christ and friend of sinners, guide my steps in these 24 days. May I arrive at Christmas transformed, purified, closer to God than I have ever been. Amen. This prayer should be repeated 3 times. 3, the number of the Holy Trinity. And with each repetition, you should look steadfastly at the flame of the candle. Padre Pio said that the flame was a focal point, a visual portal that helped the mind to concentrate and the soul to rise. Now you may be wondering, why does this work? Why can lighting a simple candle have so much power? And that's an important question, because what differentiates true faith from superstition is precisely the understanding of why things work. Padre Pio explained it this way. He said that the physical world and the spiritual world are interconnected in ways that most people cannot perceive. Every physical object has a spiritual counterpart. Every physical action has a repercussion in the invisible world. When you light a candle with intention and faith, you are not just creating light in the physical world. You are creating light in the spiritual world too. And that spiritual light has the power to ward off the darkness, to weaken the demons, to open paths that were blocked. And moreover, the color purple specifically has a deep significance. In the spectrum of colors, purple is the color of the highest visible frequency. It's the color that is closest to ultraviolet light, which our eyes cannot see. Padre Pio saw in this a perfect symbolism. Purple represented the threshold between the visible and the invisible, between the material world and the spiritual world. That is why the Church uses purple in times of penance and preparation, because those are times when we are closer to the veil that separates the two worlds. But let me tell you a story that will perfectly illustrate the power of this practice. A story that happened in 1962 with an Italian family that lived in the outskirts of Rome, the Miller family. The Millers were a common Catholic family: father, mother, and 3 children. They lived a modest life, worked hard, and went to Mass on Sundays. But there was a serious problem in that family. The eldest son, Joseph, 22 years old, had completely turned away from the faith. Not only had he stopped going to church, but he had become involved with groups that denied the existence of God. He had become a militant atheist, and worse, he had started using drugs and frequenting dangerous places. The mother, Donna Mary, was desperate. She had already prayed novenas. She had already lit candles to the saints. She had already asked all the priests in the region to pray for her son. Nothing seemed to work. Joseph was increasingly distant, increasingly lost, and Donna Mary's mother's heart was broken. It was then that she heard about Padre Pio. A neighbor told her that he had supernatural powers, that he could read people's thoughts, that he could bilocate, be in 2 places at the same time, that he had the stigmata of Christ on his hands and feet. Donna Mary decided that she would go to San Giovanni Rotondo, that she would confess to that holy man and ask for his help. The trip was long and difficult. San Giovanni Rotondo was far from Rome, and in those days the roads were not good. But Donna Mary was determined. She arrived at the convent on a cold November day and waited in line to confess to Padre Pio. The line was enormous. People from all over Italy, and even from other countries, came to seek advice and consolation from that stigmatized friar. When it was finally her turn, Donna Mary entered the confessional with her heart pounding. She had barely opened her mouth to speak when Padre Pio interrupted her. "You came because of your son Joseph, didn't you?" She was shocked. How could he know? She hadn't said anything. She hadn't given any clue. Padre Pio continued. "He is lost, but he is not abandoned. The Good Shepherd never abandons his sheep." Donna Mary began to cry. She told him the whole situation, the alienation, the drugs, the atheism. Padre Pio listened in silence. And then he said something she would never forget. He said that Joseph's conversion did not depend on ordinary prayers, that the devil had placed a fortress around the young man's heart, and that this fortress could only be torn down with a specific type of prayer, a prayer made at the right time, in the right way, with the right intention. Padre Pio then explained to Donna Mary the ritual of the Advent purple candle. He said that she should begin on the second day of Advent at 6 in the morning, that she should follow the 7 steps that I have just described to you, and that she should maintain this practice every day until Christmas, not one day, not 1 week, all 24 days. And there was one more instruction. Padre Pio said that Joseph could not know, that the mother should do everything in secret, because the forces of evil that controlled the young man's heart would try to stop her if they knew what she was doing. They would create obstacles, distractions, excuses. But if Donna Maria kept the practice secret, these forces would have no way to defend themselves. Donna Maria returned home, her heart filled with hope. She purchased a thick Advent purple candle, one of those that last for several days, and on the second day of Advent, at 6 in the morning, while her whole family was still asleep, she began the ritual. The first few days were difficult. Joseph was becoming increasingly aggressive. He argued with his father, insulted his mother, mocked his siblings who still attended Mass. Donna Maria wept in silence, but she did not give up. Every morning, at 6 o'clock, there she was, before the Advent purple candle, following the 7 steps, reciting the prayer of the portal. In the second week, something began to change. Joseph stopped mocking. He still didn't go to church. He still didn't talk about God, but he had stopped attacking the faith of others. Donna Maria noticed that he seemed more thoughtful, more quiet, as if something was happening inside him. In the third week, the miracle began to manifest more clearly. Joseph came to his mother and said that he had had a strange dream. He had dreamed of a friar with a beard, a friar who had wounds on his hands. The friar had looked at him and said only one phrase, "Come home, my son." Donna Maria almost fainted. She knew it was Padre Pio, knew that he had appeared in a dream to her son. On Christmas Eve, Joseph asked to accompany the family to midnight Mass. His mother could hardly believe it. They all went together, as they had not done in years. And during Mass, at the moment of consecration, Joseph began to cry, crying in a way he had never cried before. Tears of repentance, tears of conversion, tears of a son who was finally coming home. After Christmas, Joseph sought out a priest and confessed. He told everything: the years of estrangement, the drugs, the atheism, the blasphemies. The priest absolved him, and Joseph came out of that confession a new man, literally transformed. Years later, Donna Maria returned to San Giovanni Rotondo to thank Padre Pio. He received her with a smile and said only this: the portal was open. You had the faith to cross it. Your son was brought back. This story has been documented and is part of the archives of Padre Pio's canonization process, and it is just one among hundreds of similar stories. Stories of people who used the power of the Advent purple candle to achieve impossible graces. But I know what you're thinking. Does this work for anyone? Does it work in today's times? More than 60 years later, the answer is yes. But with one condition: you must do it with true faith, not with superficial faith, not with convenient faith, but with faith that comes from the depths of the soul, faith that remains even when the results do not appear immediately, faith that continues believing even in the deepest darkness. Padre Pio used to say that faith is like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it gets. And Advent is exactly the time to exercise that faith. It is 24 days of spiritual training, 24 days of preparation, 24 days of opening the portal between heaven and earth. And that is why I want to give you a challenge. Now, I want to challenge you to start today. This December 2nd, I want to challenge you to follow the 7 steps that Padre Pio taught. I want to challenge you to light your Advent purple candle at 6 in the morning and say the prayer of the portal. And I want to challenge you to maintain this practice for all 24 days until Christmas. If you accept this challenge, I guarantee that your life will change. Not because I have any special power, but because Padre Pio had and still has. Because he is alive in heaven, interceding for all those who seek his help, and because the Advent portal is real as you and I, as real as the sunlight that rises every morning, as real as God's love for each of us. Now let me reveal something that few know about Advent, something that Padre Pio himself discovered only after many years of prayer and contemplation. Advent is not just a time of preparation for Christmas. It is a time of spiritual warfare, a war that is fought in dimensions that our eyes cannot see, but that directly affects our lives here on earth. Padre Pio explained that during Advent, the forces of evil become more active, more aggressive, more desperate. Why? Because they know that Christmas is approaching, and Christmas is the celebration of the greatest defeat that the devil has ever suffered, the incarnation of the Son of God, the entry of the Creator into his creation, the moment when the eternal light invaded the darkness of the world. Therefore, during these 24 days, the devil works overtime. He tries to create discord in families. He tries to awaken old hurts. He tries to turn people away from prayer. He tries to make Christmas just a commercial holiday, devoid of spiritual meaning, and unfortunately, he succeeds with many people. But it doesn't have to be that way with you. If you understand what is happening in the invisible world, you can prepare, you can arm yourself, you can protect yourself, and the Advent purple candle is one of the most powerful weapons in this battle. Padre Pio recounted that once. During Advent, he had a particularly intense vision. He saw the world as if seen from above, and he saw millions of small lights scattered across the earth, violet lights. Each light was an Advent purple candle lit by a believer somewhere on the planet. And he saw that these lights formed a kind of network, a network of protection that covered the earth, and where this network was denser, where there were more lights, the power of evil was weaker. People were more protected. Families were more united. Peace was more present, but he also saw the places where there were few lights or none, and in those places the darkness was denser. Evil operated more freely. People suffered more. Families fell apart. Hope was extinguished. Padre Pio said that he woke up from this vision with an urgency in his heart, an urgency to teach people about the power of the Advent purple candle, to multiply these lights around the world, to strengthen the network of protection. And it was from then on that he began to transmit this knowledge to his spiritual children. Now think with me, how many Advent purple candles are lit at this moment in the United States, in the world? How many people know this ritual that Padre Pio taught? Unfortunately, very few. Most people spend Advent without even thinking about the spiritual meaning of this time. They buy gifts, decorate trees, plan dinners, but they completely ignore the supernatural dimension of what is happening, and that is why you are here. You were chosen to be part of this network of lights, to add your candle to the whole, to strengthen the protection over your family, your city, your country. It's not a small commitment, it's a mission, a vocation, but it is also an enormous privilege. Let me tell you another story now, a more recent story that happened in 2019. Just before the pandemic changed the world, a Brazilian businessman named Robert was going through a terrible crisis. His company was on the verge of bankruptcy. His marriage was falling apart. His health was failing. He had even thought about giving up on everything, even taking his own life. It was then that an elderly aunt gave him a small book about Padre Pio. Robert wasn't very religious. He went to Mass occasionally, more out of tradition than out of faith. But something in that book touched him. The stories of miracles, the testimonies of conversions, the figure of that friar who suffered so much and yet radiated love and hope. In the book, there was a section about Advent, about the Advent purple candle ritual. Robert read with skepticism, but also with a glimmer of hope. He was so desperate that he was willing to try anything. It was the end of November. Advent was about to begin. Robert decided that he would follow the instructions in the book to the letter. He bought a thick Advent purple candle, prepared a corner in his office, away from prying eyes, and on the second day of Advent, at 6 in the morning, he lit the candle for the first time. He says that he didn't feel anything special that first day. No supernatural sensation, no voice from heaven. Just the flame of the candle flickering in the cold morning air. But he continued. On the second day, on the third, on the fourth, he continued following the 7 steps. He continued saying the prayer of the portal. He continued, even without seeing any results. In the second week, something began to change, not externally, but internally. Robert realized that he was calmer, that the anxiety that consumed him had diminished, that he could sleep better, that he woke up with more energy. They were subtle changes, but real. In the third week, the external changes began to appear. A former client, who owed a significant amount, contacted him, saying that he had finally gotten the money to pay. An investor, whom Robert had contacted months before, without success, called, wanting to schedule a meeting. His wife, who barely spoke to him, suggested that they go together to a couples therapy session. By Christmas, Robert was transformed. The company still had problems, but it was breathing. The marriage still needed work, but there was hope. His health still required care, but he had the energy to care for it. And more importantly than all of that, he had rediscovered his faith. He had discovered that he wasn't alone, that there was a greater force watching over him, that there was a Father in heaven who had never abandoned him. Robert sent me this story by email a few months ago, along with a request. He asked that I share it with as many people as possible, that I teach the Advent purple candle ritual, that I help other people find the same path that he found. And that's exactly what I'm doing now, sharing it with you. Because if it worked for Eleanor Thompson and her son Michael in the 1960s, if it worked for Robert in 2019, it can work for you in 2025. The power of God does not diminish with time. The intercession of Padre Pio does not weaken with the years. The portal of Advent continues to open year after year, waiting for someone to have the faith to cross it. But I need to be honest with you about something. This path is not easy. The evil one will not sit idly by while you strengthen your spiritual life. He will try to discourage you. He will create obstacles. He will make you forget to light the candle. He will make you wake up too late. He will make you think that this is nonsense, superstition, a waste of time. Padre Pio warned about this. He said that in the first days of the ritual, the temptations would be stronger, the thoughts of giving up would be more frequent, the distractions would be more numerous. And he said that this was precisely the sign that the ritual was working, because if it weren't, the evil one wouldn't bother trying to prevent it. So, when you feel like giving up, remember this. Remember that the resistance you feel is proof that you are on the right path. Remember that Padre Pio faced much greater resistance and never gave up. Remember that victory is on the other side of perseverance. Now I want to talk about something very important, the signs that the ritual is working. Because sometimes God answers our prayers in ways that we don't expect. And if we aren't attentive, we can miss the signs that He is sending us. Padre Pio described several signs that indicated that the portal of Advent was opening for a person. The first sign was that of inner peace, a peace that didn't depend on external circumstances, a peace that remained, even in the midst of problems. If you begin to feel this inexplicable peace, know that it is a sign. The second sign was that of meaningful dreams. Padre Pio said that during Advent, God frequently communicates through dreams, not confused and chaotic dreams, but clear dreams, charged with meaning. If you start having dreams like this, pay attention. Write them down when you wake up, and they may contain important messages. The third sign was that of significant coincidences, people who appear in your life at the right time, opportunities that arise out of nowhere, doors that open without you having knocked. Padre Pio said that there are no coincidences, only divine providences that we cannot explain. The fourth sign was that of perfume, and this is particularly linked to Padre Pio. Many people report smelling an inexplicable scent of roses or incense when Padre Pio intercedes for them. If you smell such an aroma, without any explainable source, know that He is near, that He is praying for you, that He is guiding your steps. The fifth sign was that of tears, not tears of sadness, but tears of spiritual emotion, tears that spring up when you are in prayer, tears that come for no apparent reason. Padre Pio called these tears the gift of tears. He said they were a sign that the soul was being touched by divine grace. Now, you may experience all these signs, or none of them. Each person is unique. Each spiritual journey is different. The important thing is not to seek the signs, but to seek God. The signs are just confirmations along the way. The destination is union with the Creator. I want to tell you now about Padre Pio's last night of Advent, the Christmas Eve of 1967, less than a year before his death. He was very weak. The stigmata had drained his strength over 50 years. But that night, he insisted on celebrating midnight mass. The faithful who were present say that he seemed transfigured. His face shone with a light that was not of this world. His hands bled, but he didn't seem to feel pain, only joy, a deep and serene joy. After Mass, Padre Pio remained alone in the chapel. The other monks saw him kneeling before the nativity scene, conversing softly. Some thought he was praying, but others, those with eyes to see, realized he was talking with someone only he could see. The next day at Christmas lunch, one of the younger monks gathered his courage and asked Padre Pio who he had been talking to the night before. Padre Pio smiled that mysterious smile that only he possessed and responded, "With him. I was speaking with him. The child Jesus came to visit me, as he does every Christmas Eve, and told me that this would be the last Christmas we would spend together here on earth." The monks were shaken by this revelation. And indeed, Padre Pio passed away in September of the following year, 1968. The child Jesus had spoken the truth. That was truly Padre Pio's last Christmas on earth. But what few know is what Padre Pio said next. He said that the child Jesus also spoke about the future, about the times that would come, about the challenges that humanity would face, and about how Advent would become increasingly important as a time of protection and preparation. Padre Pio revealed that in the end times, and many believe we are living in those times now, Advent would be like a beacon in the darkness, a period in which graces would be more abundant, in which the veil between worlds would become thinner, in which prayers would be more powerful, but also a period in which the attacks of the evil one would be more intense. Therefore, said Padre Pio, those who know how to use the time of Advent well will be more prepared for what lies ahead. They will be more protected, more strengthened, more connected with heaven. And that is the message I want to leave with you today. Advent is not just a countdown to Christmas. It is a sacred time of spiritual preparation. It is a unique opportunity that opens up once a year. It's a portal that you can choose to walk through or ignore. The choice is yours. It always has been. God respects our freedom. He never forces anyone. He invites, he calls, he offers, but the final decision is always ours. I have already given you the tools. I have already taught you the 7 steps. I have already given you the prayer of the portal. I have already told you the stories of people who have been transformed. Now it depends on you. It depends on your faith. It depends on your decision. You have just received knowledge that has been hidden for decades. The Advent purple candle ritual, taught by Padre Pio himself. The 7 steps that open the portal between heaven and earth. The stories of people who have been transformed by this practice. This knowledge has not reached you by chance. Padre Pio used to say that God's greatest mercy is giving someone the chance to know the truth, and the greatest tragedy is when someone knows the truth and does nothing with it. You are now facing that choice. You can ignore everything you have heard and continue your life as before, or you can decide that this Advent will be different, that this will be the year you cross the portal. The research, the production, the dedication to bring this content to you, it requires a lot. If these revelations of Padre Pio have touched your heart, if you felt that this knowledge was for you, consider supporting this work through Super Thanks. The heart-shaped button that is right below the video. When you click on it, you are not just making a donation, you are becoming part of this mission to spread Padre Pio's spiritual protection around the world. You are helping to light another light in the network of protection. You are saying that this type of content matters and should continue to exist. If you decide to accept this challenge, I want you to do something right now. I want you to stop the video for a moment. I want you to close your eyes. I want you to place your hand on your heart, and I want you to say out loud or in your mind these words: Padre Pio, I accept the challenge. I will light the Advent purple candle. I will follow the 7 steps. I will cross the Advent portal. Guide me on this journey. If you have done this, if you have spoken these words with sincerity, know that something has already begun to change. Something has already begun to move in the spiritual world in your favor. Padre Pio has already heard. He is already interceding. He is already preparing the way. You know, there is something that Padre Pio said frequently that I find deeply comforting. He said that even after he died, he would continue working for the salvation of souls, that his mission would not end with the death of the body, that he would make more noise from heaven than he ever did on earth. And the miracles that continue to happen through his intercession are proof that he fulfilled that promise. Inexplicable healings, impressive conversions, lives transformed. All through the intercession of that simple friar from San Giovanni Rotondo who bore the wounds of Christ for 50 years. Now, before I finish, I want to ask you for something important. If this video touched you in some way, if you felt that these words were for you, do not keep it to yourself. Share it. Send it to someone who needs to hear this message, someone who is going through difficulties, someone who has lost hope, someone who has turned away from faith, because you may be the instrument that God will use to change that person's life. And if you have made it this far, to the end of this video, I want to thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your openness. You are now part of a community of people who seek to experience Advent in a deeper way, more meaningfully, more transformatively. In the coming days, I will bring more teachings from Padre Pio about this sacred time, more revelations, more stories, more tools for your spiritual journey. So if you are not already subscribed to this channel, subscribe now and activate the notification bell. That way you won't miss any content. And in the comments, I want to hear from you. Have you ever felt the presence of Padre Pio at some point in your life? The scent of roses, a meaningful dream, a coincidence that could only have been divine providence? Tell us in the comments. Because your testimony may be exactly what another person needs to hear to strengthen their faith. May Padre Pio intercede for you and for your entire family. May this Advent be the most powerful and transformative of your life. May the light of the Advent purple candle illuminate your path until Christmas and beyond. And may you arrive at the manger in Bethlehem with a purified heart and ready to receive the child Jesus. Amen.